What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Would You Watch It Again, where we review your favorite movies, anime, and TV shows, and at the end, answer the only question that really matters: would you watch this over again? I'm your host, Dooley, and today we're reviewing The Flash, so let's talk about it. The movie centers around Barry Allen traveling back in time in order to prevent the death of his mother, Nora. Those that are familiar with the Flashpoint storyline understand the ripples this causes on reality. It's a cautionary tale about tampering with the timeline, highlighting the potential dangers and unintended outcomes of altering established events. As many know, the Flash succeeds in saving his mom, ignoring the advice given to him by his timeline's Batman, played by Ben Affleck. He finds himself trapped in an alternate universe with another, younger and powerless version of himself, and with no Justice League to help, all while General Zod is back to try and destroy the Earth. Now, prior to its release, the director Andy Muschietti claimed that no one else could replace Ezra Miller as the Flash, and within 20 minutes of the movie you can see exactly why. Ezra Miller as the Flash is a perfect casting choice. His quirky and comedic timing captures the real lightheartedness of the Flash's personality, but at the same time, he's also able to be super expressive and vulnerable in many scenes, which kind of showcases his emotional depth. And to be honest, that vastly outperforms his TV show counterpart on CW. Secondly, his main co-star in this movie is played by himself and plays the more childish version of Barry Allen, whereas the one we started with is a lot more serious and worried. Even though this is not an origin story, we get to experience the Flash's unique abilities for the first time through the lens of this alternate Barry Allen. Between phasing through walls and generating cyclones, we get to see the more seasoned Barry Allen kind of acting as a mentor to his younger self. Not to mention, the CGI looked excellent, especially in regards to the Speed Force, which is kind of the primary essence of the movie. They really nailed that. Seeing the Flash run was never dull by any means. There was a great attention to detail in the environment, which kind of showcased that sense of speed, but also whenever we see him slow down, he never seems invisible, rather just fast enough just to get out of. We see time travel explored in a slightly different yet convenient way. Although there are moments that can be changed in the past that would directly affect the future in a linear way, there are moments in the past that are still meant to overlap and or be inevitable. Meaning, although this new universe may not have a Wonder Woman or an Aquaman, there would still be a Batman. Now, the second half of the film is major fan service, as we get to see Michael Keaton returning as Batman.
I'm Batman. I'm Batman.
Not only was he one of, if not the most iconic versions of Batman that we've seen, but his compelling presence and his portrayal of the character had left such an enduring legacy that it was just amazing to see him have this coming of age moment as the character once again. From the costumes down to the Batmobile to the Batwing to his comic book style fighting that would kind of rival Affleck, this was some of the best Batman moments we've ever gotten in any movie. Now, the third act of the film is where we start to miss a step as we see Supergirl's character revealed. Although she's really interesting at first, and it's a nice deviation from the Clark Kent that we know, this is where the movie starts to feel. She isn't given many lines, and her reasoning of conveniently choosing to help our heroes with little or no push feels awkward, especially after being imprisoned by humans. We then see her and Batman get killed off within minutes, regardless of how many times both Flashes try and reset the timeline, making their build-up feel a little useless, but it's also where the use of the Speed Force starts to feel a little stale. Luckily, it manages to regain its balance once we see the Dark Flash, who is an older version of Barry, explain the inevitable intersection of saving their mom and how their reckless time traveling has now caused this multiverse incursion where we can see glimpses of Christopher Reeves and Nicolas Cage as Superman and even Adam West as Batman. This inevitable sacrifice Barry must make is to allow his mom to die in order for things to return to normal, which is kind of the main theme of the movie, similar to the multiverse theme in Across the Spider-Verse. Would we protect our own if it meant potentially destroying the reality we know? Is that sacrifice supposed to make us who we are, or are we willing to go far enough to unlive that pain? The truth is, if we could, we would act selfishly. Now, of course, the movie ends in a way that is supposed to reset the DC Universe timeline and set up the new DC live-action universe. As time was explained earlier, Although certain events can change, certain events are also inevitable. We see Jason Momoa return as Aquaman, however, instead of Ben Affleck, we have George Clooney return as Batman, which implies a few characters will be returning for the new movie universe James Gunn is setting up, since we already know Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill are confirmed to not be returning. While it may not be as direct of a franchise rebooting sequence, it kind of allows the characters to shape their next phase as they see fit, while keeping the continuity alive. So, would I watch this again? Absolutely. It's a fun movie. It's the only live-action multiverse we've seen from DC films. It's found a way to reset the timeline and still explain it in a way that's convenient enough for viewers to accept. And it's got plenty to enjoy, from the fan service and cameos from actors down to the overall performance we get from Ezra Miller.